Hello, peace seekers. This is Saniqua White dropping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. Today, I want to talk about your mind and the media. And when I say media, I mean all platforms, social media, the news, CNN, all those channels. Whatever you have as your news feed or whatever way you get the news or information, that is what I'm talking about when I say media. So talking about your mind and the media. Today I have 3 tips for you, and if you've listened to some of my other videos, you've heard this before, but it's worth repeating. Tip number 1 when it comes to your mind and the media is be informed and not inundated. What do I mean by that? Information is good. We need information so we can process it and know what we should do with it, to come up with strategies or to throw it out or whatever we need to do with the information. We need to receive the information. But being inundated means you're receiving way too much. You're watching your news feed way too much. You're watching the actual news way too much. Social media overkill. Okay, inundated means you're being overwhelmed, you're being crushed, you're being buried, you're being consumed by the media. And if you haven't realized it by now, depending on what feed you're watching, it has a slant to it. It wants you to look at these things and think this way and go with this, and vice versa on some of the other platforms want you to go this way and think this way and vote this way. So when you're looking at all of this, you are being traumatized if you are getting information overload, which is being inundated. So when you're on overload, now you're stressed, depressed, anxious, and you're traumatizing yourself with the media. And you're in control of this because you can turn off the TV. You can turn the phone off. You can delete the app. Whatever mode of information you're getting, you can turn that off. So you have a choice whether or not you're informed or inundated. So that's tip number 1, be informed and not inundated. Tip number 2 is be affected and not infected. What do I mean by that? We're going to be affected by things. If you're a human being, which we all are, you're going to be affected by something. You're going to be saddened or angered or worried or bothered in some type of way by the news and what's going on in our culture, what's going on in our society. That's normal to be affected. What I want you to stay away from is being infected. And much like being inundated, being infected is when you've been inundated, you've been consumed, and now the media and what you've taken in is taking over you. You're no longer in control. It's like your mind needs to watch the news or needs to be on social media. You're infected by it, and it's driving your emotions, and you're depressed because you won't stop watching it. And in some instances, it's because you can't. You've gotten addicted to it. So now you're infected by what you're consuming. That's where you've gone wrong. So you want to be affected. You want to feel for the people or yourself or your community or whoever is being hurt or whatever by the media. But you don't want to be infected so that it is taking over your mind and your body and your thoughts and your actions. Okay? Tip number 3 is to be responsive and not reactive. When you intake the information, if you intake it in the right amount for you, you're able to process it, and then you're able to strategize. You're able to come up with if there is something that you can do And if there is something you can do, which there usually is, what is it? Is it something that you personally need to do, or do you need to join an organization or fund an organization that can help, or fund something that can help? Or is it you that needs to start an organization or something to help this situation? That's a response. Being reactive is when you receive that information, you get affected and then infected. You're acting off of your emotions, your anger, your disgust, your disdain, whatever it is throwing you into a reaction, and you're doing something likely that is going to end you in a worse position than before you even got the information. So a response, being responsive, is going to come from intellect. It's going to come from a strategy. It's going to come from the fact that you were able to take the information and process it and then respond to the situation effectively, instead of reacting to a situation, which typically adds fuel to the fire, which typically makes it worse. Okay? So here are those 3 tips again. 1, be informed and not inundated. Take in the information, give yourself time to process. Don't just continually overwhelm and drown yourself in the information. Okay? Tip number 2 is be affected and not infected. Affected is that you feel for the situation. Infected is that your feelings for the situation take over you, where you're no longer in control of it and what you do. And tip number 3 is to be responsive and not reactive. Take the information in, allow yourself some time to process it, and then come up with a strategy. What is it that you need to do that could help the situation, that could be effective in the situation, instead of reacting out of your emotion and likely doing something that could make the situation worse? Okay? I hope this information was helpful. If it is, give this video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. If you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear from you. I'll be back soon. But until then, be proactive with your mental health. Be well, and God bless.